Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers, sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to L3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the wild, wonderful mountain state. And today's date is Saturday, July 10th, 2021. Ooh, yes. So, just hanging out a little bit. AC's on. You probably hear it in the background. Hanging out with my little dog, Luke. One does like to play a lot. That's okay. Yeah, so just trying to see what I want. There's a little claim about possible U.S. mercenaries were involved in the assassination of the Haitian president. I know that they had a couple of people from Miami, Fort Lauderdale, got arrested, Haitian descent. One of them's a businessman. And yeah, so something I'm going to have to look into, just to see what their intake is, especially on the alternative side of the media. Because you know how it is, all this whitewashed garbage from the mainstream garbage media. And I've been saying that a couple times. Garbage. Yep, and today's Ronnie James Dio's birthday. May his soul be forever free. This book just has some video presentation, online presentation with automated version, laser automated version. I saw that one video on there. We did a re-rock. It was pretty cool. It was nice. Some people may not like it. However, my intake, I understand. But it's paying homage to a person that influenced a lot of bands and vocalists in the realm of rock and heavy metal music. Been the test of time. And so that's why, remember the day he passed, I was at a Cannibal Corpse concert down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Culture Room, and Corpse Grinder, George Fisher, did pay homage to Ronnie James Dio. That was, they dedicated the show to him. It was pretty cool. And the crowd, death metal fans, doesn't matter. We all chant out Dio. It's funny about the metal scene. You got people into progressive metal, can't stand death metal. You got death metal fans, love everything, so. Entertainment, of course. But it was very nice. And seeing him, probably one of the best moves they did when they recruited looking for vocalists, they picked him in late 95. And I told folks, they chose wisely. Nothing against Chris Barnes whatsoever. But I'm not a big diehard fan of that group. However, they're not boring to watch. They're entertaining, of course. George, Corpse Grinder, loves to talk smack to everybody, so it's awesome. So he's a great front man, and that's one thing I always respect him for. He's been through the test of time. And you know what? You got to appreciate it one way or the other. It doesn't matter if you love the music, fan of the band or not. Alright, well, enough of that. It was, caught my attention. Looks like Michael Taylor, Florida Carry, just shares on the Facebook page for the Tempe Bay Times. And there was a video on that pertaining to Michael Taylor was going fishing, walking the beach, and he got harassed by Clearwater's finest. So some people were wigging out. So, let's just see what they have to say here. He walked Clearwater Beach with an AR-15. Is he a menace or a martyr? I love that title. Very dramatic, but we'll just see what it says here. The tactics used by Michael Taylor, a gun rights auditor with a YouTube following, are legal. Whether they're in good taste depends on who you ask. It is by Jack Evans and Christopher Spada. Clearwater Beach. Michael Taylor trudged over the crowded sugar sand between sunbathers on the beach towels and watered ring kids digging with plastic shovels. A few people peered at him from behind sunglasses. What was he doing? Living that dream, he told anyone who engaged with him on a recent Monday. Living that Florida dream. Yep, that's true. I can attest to that. Watch the videos. Met him in person, too, in West Palm Beach. Good folk. In his left hand, he carried a fishing rod and a pole flying a "Don't Tread on Me" flag. They bobbed in front of a GoPro camera strapped to his chest and shooting video. Someone else, dark and dull but obscured, kept intruding on the frame. He fist bumped a beachgoer and complimented the man's tattoo, the symbol of the Three Percenters, an anti-government militia movement. This is so dramatic, Anti-government militia movement. The man asked about a thing slung over Taylor's shoulder that shadowed on the screen. "It's an AR pistol," Taylor responded. "A shorter variant of the AR-15 style rifle, fully loaded with a round in the chamber," he explained later. Four Clearwater police officers stopped 10 minutes later, about 100 yards from Pier 60. Taylor, who was also carrying a handgun on his hip, wasn't worried. He was used to being stopped by cops. He sought it out even. This is what the cameras was for. Taylor, proprietor of a YouTube channel called The Armed Fisherman, has for 3 years traveled to Florida with a fishing pole, flag, and weapons. He almost always provokes a police response, which he gladly uploads. The videos get tens of thousands of views, part in the online ecosystem of so-called civil rights auditors who invite him and film confrontations with police and other officials. Open carrying firearms is illegal in Florida, but state law makes a few exceptions, including one that allows open carry rule while hunting, camping, and fishing, and while going to and from those activities. Taylor's test his law time and time again. And you could look it up here. 790.25, subsection 3H. So you can look it up for yourselves, folks. All right. He has made hundreds of videos. He's been handcuffed dozens of times. Occasionally he gets arrested, though he says he never been convicted of committing a crime while auditing. A Tampa Times background check did not turn up any convictions. Taylor titled the Clearwater video, filmed on June 14th, on Flag Day, by the way. "I try to be nice, but tyranny doesn't care." Within 2 weeks, it had nearly 140,000 views, and he was planning a return trip. In the Clearwater video, the detective identified in a police report as John Kappa points out that Taylor chose to take a long walk down the beach rather than park near the fishing pier. "You think it's appropriate walking around with an AR-15 on your chest where there's children and everybody on the beach?" Kappa asked. "You don't think that's going to cause problems?" "I don't care about people's concerns," Taylor tells the officers. "I care about your reaction." And one thing I will say this, okay, folks, about Michael Taylor. He does, if people come up to him, he explains this, trying to enlighten. He's like a teacher, okay, on this journey he has, and which is cool. I don't see any resentment. Okay, if you do it in a threatening manner, it's a whole different ball game. It's like this is. I'll continue on here. The other side of the story: officers disarmed, detained, and handcuffed Taylor by turning him loose with his gun. After 40 minutes, like usual, they determined his walk on the beach was legal. Whether it was in good taste depends on whom you ask. He could look like the next mass shooter of a charming patriot, a menace, or a martyr. Taylor, a 41-year-old self-described constitutionalist, husband, father, and chef at a farm-to-table restaurant near his home in Port St. Lucie, is fond of saying, "I'm just going fishing." In a recent interview with the Times, he conceded that what he does is activism. This is important because if I let them take this right away and say you can't do that, eventually they can take away all other of our rights. Taylor said he launched into a slippery slope argument at the bottom of which a U.S. resembling communist China. By Independence Day weekend, Clearwater Police has closed the case involving Taylor, then reopened it and referred it to the Pinellas Pasco State's Attorney's Office. Oh, good grief. Which is deciding whether he should face any charges. Oh, good grief. How pathetic. Yeah. Taylor acknowledged a case in another video and said he questioned whether he should return to the beach on July 3rd as he had planned. But he already urged other people to join him there. He made the trip. Almost 10 supporters turned out as Taylor, with his 2-year-old daughter in tow, and his gun strapped to his chest, setting up his fishing pole on Pier 60. At least one supporter filmed him. A couple of police officers patrolled the area, but they told the Times reporter that they didn't know Taylor was coming, and they didn't approach him. The only brief confrontation came from when Taylor spotted a beach patrol supervisor who had called the police in June. Sweet Polly purebred. Trouble came because of you, Taylor tells the man in the video he posted after. You can see it for yourselves. There's a link to that, folks. Pinellas County Sheriff Bob Galatieri and Clearwater Police Chief Dan Slaughter acknowledged the legality of Taylor's expeditions, but they took the issue in his tactics and expressed concern that introducing a loaded weapon to scenes such as that increases the potential for violence. The law is archaic, Slaughter said. I think it makes sense if you're trying to camp out and get to your campsite through the woods to carry a gun, but to intentionally walk through a heavily congested area with sole purpose of trying to cause disorder or fear to make some kind of constitutional point is irresponsible and ridiculous. Well, people need to learn to talk. That's one way of doing it. Instead of freaking out. If he was out there brandishing it to others, that's a whole different ballgame, and that's not a legitimate move, okay? After Taylor demonstrated in Palm Beach with the group Florida Carrier in 2019, the mayor and police chief there wrote to a state senator asking that the law be changed to prevent open carry in certain places, including guarded beaches. The senator of Palm Beach County, Democrat Bobby Powell, introduced a bill in the next session that will prohibit open carry within 1,500 feet of schools, places of worship, public buildings, and guarded beaches. It died in committee. How about those places of worship want firearms in their area? Okay, so he's going to try to dictate to people on what to do. Taylor says he carries a gun while fishing for personal safety because he was nearly robbed once. Though he said he never reported to the police, he learned about open carry law. He said from one of his primary inspirations, Jeff Gray, a St. Augustine truck driver whose YouTube channel, Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations, has more than 100,000 subscribers. David Dewberry, professor at Rider University in New Jersey, credited Gray with coining the term First Amendment audit. Gray 51 began filming police in 2010. He said in part out of frustration with speed traps that seemed more like money-making tools that benefit to public safety. The first time he did it, he said, I wound up in cuffs. In the contrast with later auditors, including Taylor, who lean on profanity or aggression when they encounter police, Gray prioritizes keeping a cool head. He cites the matter his mother taught him in a directive of Patrick Swayze's character Roadhouse, Be Nice. If you don't wind up getting arrested, which has happened to me 8 or 9 times now, you don't want to be yelling and screaming and making a fool of yourself, Gray said, adding that prosecutors have always declined to file charges. You want to look like you're calm, cool, and a rational person. And I have to agree with him on that, because I know Mr. Taylor, respectfully, he lets his emotions go, and we all exhibit it differently, and even for him, and I say this in a broadly way, always try to be more methodical when it comes to speaking, and and there's times, hey, we all have our wigged out moments, so. Or be a little bit hot-headed. We all have our good and bad days. So it's okay. It's a human element. Auditing is a relatively new phenomenon enabled by technology and social media, but has plenty of precedents. And Dewberry, who recently published a peer-reviewed study of First Amendment auditors, he traced an American lineage of civilians recording police from Paul Revere's iconic engraving of the Boston Massacre to the cell phone video that captured Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd last year. Auditors, however, seek out encounters with police rather than witnessing and recording spontaneously. I've seen those too, and I have to attest to that. Those particular videos. You gotta say, use finesse. We all seen cops, Dewberry said, lots of us have seen live PD. Those who heavily tilted toward the state's point of view, now we get to see from the other point of view that make some people uncomfortable, but it is the other side of the story. Dewberry found that auditors generally know their way around the law. Though his research focused on auditors expressing free speech rights, he said they display firearms enough where I notice it. Gray, in fact, once dabbled in gun rights tests. His second most popular video, with more than 2.7 million views, documented a run with Ormond Beach police he posted in 2014. He was openly carrying a handgun while going fishing. The video contrasts sharply with Taylor's Clearwater stroll. It begins when an officer approaches Gray. There aren't any visible bystanders. Gray is quiet and compliant, and he's soon released with his gun. Still, he said, experience left him shaken. The officer had drawn his guns. His wife and a close friend asked him to stop making open carrying videos. They were afraid if I was going to get shot. Gray said, I quit doing it. Is his way the right way? At least one auditor had been shot. In 2019, a security guard outside Los Angeles synagogue wounded a woman who was filming the building. Gray feels no regret about the subculture he helped spawn, he said, but reserves some people for people he believes cross lines. He knows an auditor of Texas who prowls residential neighborhoods, shining lights into homes at night, has heard of auditors calling police on themselves and get to guarantee confrontations. None of that applies to Taylor, who Gray called a friend and someone who does things the right way. I definitely think that law enforcement could handle it a lot better than they do, he said. He should definitely be knowledgeable for the very same law. This is the same statute that authorized them to carry weapons. Taylor regrets the torrent profanity he unleashed on Clearwater officers last month, he said, but he's on the edge after 3 years of guns pointed at me, cops telling me to get face down on the ground, being thrown in the back of cars. Clearwater incident wasn't Taylor's first time filming in Tampa Bay. In 2020, he showed up at John Pass's village, as did Pinellas County Sheriff's deputies who detained and released him. He likes to follow up to see if officers have received additional training. Gualtieri said that deputies don't get specific training on dealing with auditors, though there's general guidance for when they're being filmed. Be careful and be aware of the law. Clearwater police spokesperson said officers are trained on the issue. We'll follow the law, Slaughter said, but I don't think that law was created for what this gentleman is doing, which is to generate income by a bunch of YouTube videos. It's called donations, so what? Taylor, whose videos are sometimes accompanied by a PayPal link, said he makes a couple $100 a month from his channel and puts money toward more travel and videos. His old channel, Solely Yacker, generated thousands of dollars before YouTube removed his ability to make money due to a policy violation. Taylor said it was because he reposted a banned Snapchat video from a man who threatened a mass shooting in order to comment on it. David Thomas, a professor of forensic studies at the Florida Gulf Coast University and former Gainesville police officer, said he welcomes citizens questioning, challenging, and recording officers, but the presence of a weapon makes a possibility of violence palpable. If officers have the skill level and knowledge as opposed to have, this should be fairly routine, Thomas said. What scares me is somebody is going to overdo it. The officer is going to overdo it. Officers just arriving on the scene have no way of knowing the intentions of Taylor or any other
armed person, Gulatori said, as that they know they're about to approach somebody who's armed pretty extensively in a popular area. The danger that scenario creates in a line, less with auditors' stated goals, he said, and more with the desired bait the police. They're pushing the limits of it, he said, and they somebody to take action against them so they could be a martyr about it. I don't know. And don't get me wrong, the police are human beings too. I'm not going to crucify them collectively by any means. You got your good folks and you got your geniuses, and I say that ironically. And sometimes too, the police, they get information which is technically a rough draft. It happened to me. I could tell you that. It happened to me. I got a gun pointed at me. It was a big violent ordeal happened a few blocks away from when I lived in the Victoria Park District of Fort Lauderdale. And I was walking, and it's funny because all this debris on the side of the sidewalk. I was walking, and the vehicle was moving. So I actually shifted. It was like my natural, my routine. Okay, then I got to the ground, and they're just looking for a guy that had long hair and a beard. Okay, so how many people? So I was profiled, and I'm a white guy. So give me a break. But all got cleared up, and of course the officer apologized and so forth. I had no bitterness, but you gotta look at this. You gotta look at their angle as well. So I'll just leave from that at that. Thumbs up and fear. Taylor insists he doesn't want to scare anyone. There wasn't a mass hysteria on the beach, he said. A lot of people were happy to see me, giving me thumbs up, but Taylor didn't mention the people who weren't happy to see him. It does happen. Not the people on the beach giving him a wide berth, not the frightening children, a group of junior lifeguards who fled just as police arrived, according to their report. Not the beach safety supervisor who called the police, nor the lifeguard who feared for his safety and called his boss, nor the worried woman who complained the lifeguard in the first place. After the officers let Taylor go, they watched as he walked to the pier. He fished for 5 minutes, then left. He wandered around the area for about 20 minutes. Police wrote. 4 more people called 911. Asked later what he caught at Pier 66, Taylor said he came up empty. I think I was using the wrong bait. Look, I think it's pretty damn cool, okay, what he's doing. Regardless of what you think of him or not. I've seen some of the videos he did in the past. Even in Miami Beach, people have their firearms. They're fishing. And the city of Miami Beach just treat them all like pieces of garbage. That was wrong. Tried to spin the law and he didn't give a damn. I believe that case got dismissed too. That was wrong. People, if you live in Florida and you're a resident from other place and it's very tyrannical, you leave that garbage up there. You don't bring it to the Sunshine State. You start knowing the laws. Florida Constitution is a great start. Article 1, Declaration of Rights. Learn about gun laws. Plenty of information on it. It goes tip to your fingertips. I knew about this law for a very long time. Open carry. I remember the time when people had their pickup trucks, they had their shotguns on the rack in Dade County. I remember that. That's a long time ago. Now, if you do it, people are like, oh my God! Underdog, save me! They all wig out like sweet Polly purebreds. And the big city of Underdog. That's only cartoons, folks. And yeah, see, sometimes Mr. Taylor's exhibition can be, disapproved. And he admits that, which is good. He's a grown man. What he was trying to do is teach people the law. Not there to brandish or show off. Of course, you got these other folks they say, oh, he's there to make the money. I don't think so.
Hey, nothing wrong for donations. Hey, if you don't like people exercising their civil rights, hey, if you're an NAACP member, burn your card. Just to give you an example. But one thing for sure, the armed fisherman, he's doing good, and I like it. Keep up the good work, Mr. Taylor. Hopefully we'll meet real soon, all right? All right, my friends, that will be it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or send on this Instagram or check out whatever you do, please send your correspondence from the quorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnote of this article on my Spreaker page. If you want to contact me, you can hit me at LokiLuck number 03 at pro10mail.com. If you donations, you can hit me at paypal.me or cash.at/LokiLuck number 3. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Armed Fisherman. Give them some contributions too, because if you don't exercise your rights, the tyrants want you to lose them. And I say, no way, no how. Remember, we all got natural rights. Let's preserve it without any governmental assistance. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.